Hey guys, welcome to this week's review of the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. Before we begin, I've heard, allegedly, that we're not getting a Real Housewives of New York a reunion. We're not getting a reunion. Now, yeah, I've been hearing rumors, but you know how it is. It's like 1 week they'll say this, the next week they'll say that. But now they're saying we're not going to get it. Because allegedly, the reunion was supposed to be filmed the 23rd of September. Right? So they haven't even filmed it yet. But apparently they're canceling it, which is very bizarre to me, right? Because if you watched Real Housewives of Orange County in, past seasons where they had nothing going on, Real Housewives of Atlanta last season, what did they have going on? Yeah, we were able to get a three-part reunion, right? But when you look back at those seasons, what happened in Real Housewives of Atlanta last season? The Bolo thing, and that was it. But yet we managed to get a 3-part reunion. So it's a little weird that for New York, we can't get a 1-part. We don't need 3 parts. Hell no, we do not need a 3-part reunion. A 1-part reunion would suffice, right? Maybe make it an hour and a half. There's not much to talk about, but there are things to talk about, right? And it's like, okay, is it going to be awkward because they're going to talk about race? And it's like, okay, they've been talking about this the whole season. I don't think 1, 2, or maybe 3 questions directed at Ramona is going to blow up the world, right? I think we can handle it, right? 1, 2, 3 questions directed at Ebony, I think she can handle it, right? And then it would be questions to Sonia regarding her sobriety and maybe if she has issues with alcohol. We'd ask some questions about Luann and how her sobriety journey is going, right? Leia and her becoming Jewish and her relationship with her ex-boyfriend, baby daddy, I don't know what you want to call him, but that could have been a conversation. And her relationship with Ramona, I feel like there's enough there where, yes, okay, we're going to talk about race, but it's not enough to dominate the whole thing. If it's a 1-part thing, okay, maybe half, which is 15 minutes. Okay, not 15 minutes. Because, okay, fine, this will go on for an hour, but if you add commercials, it's like 45 minutes, right? So we're getting 20 minutes? Like, come on. I don't know. I don't know what the issue is. It's not like I said, they may not be able to have a 3-part reunion, but you can manage to put together a 1-part. And I don't know if they feel like, okay, if we only have enough material for a 1-part reunion, we're not going to recoup any money, so it doesn't make sense to have the production. And of course, they're going to have limitations because of COVID and New York. It's a little bit more strict, but still they could somehow figure it out. It's so weird because I know it's not Real Housewives of New York is not being canceled, but I mean, like I said, when I look back at other franchises, they managed to put together a 3-part reunion. And for this, it's like they don't want to do it. Maybe they think it's going to be too controversial. They don't want to alienate the audience. They don't want to, I don't know, expose Ramona even a little bit. Because Ramona, I feel like maybe they want to protect Ramona, Luann, and Sonia a little bit, right? Because they know that, especially Ramona, as terrible as she is entertaining. And they kind of know with Ramona, we all know she's going to say something stupid. And they don't want to risk that. It's just a little bit weird to me that it's not like it's live. It's edited. So if anybody says anything too crazy or too outlandish, they can chop it up. So hopefully this thing is not true. It'd be kind of disappointing, that we wouldn't get something, right? Because I guess nothing really needs to be discussed, but I guess reunions is part of the season, right? It's part of the journey. So to not have it, it just feels a little bit like we've been cheated as an audience somehow. I think we all can handle what they would talk about. Like, come on, guys. We've already survived 17 episodes. We can survive one more episode talking about this stuff. So, whatever. Moving on. This episode of Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, it was alright. The two people I'm going to be focusing on is Garcelle and Erika, right? And maybe a bit of Dorit. So let's do Erika first, right? I don't know, like they meet at Kathy's, right? Kyle, obviously Kathy, I think Lisa and Erika, right? And Erika is telling Kyle that just the other day, there was a burglar, right? And Tom confronted the burglar, and I guess the burglar beat him up. That's not even clear, right? Because actually, if you guys, I'll see if I can get a picture, but I don't know if you guys saw that paparazzi pic of Tom, right? He was getting gas. I don't know what he was doing, but he had a black eye. I don't know if that aligns with this timeline of Erika saying someone tried to break into his house and they got into a fight, or he punched him in his face, or who knows what happened. But then later they're trying to say something with glaucoma, and that doesn't really make too much sense to me, but okay. And then she's saying that he drove to the hospital or something like that, and he rolled his car over 5 times, right? And then her son came to check on her ex-husband, and then he rolled his car because there was snow in California? Huh? There's snow? I mean, was he driving in the mountains? Was he at a mountaintop driving around? Like, what? I mean, listen, there was snow in, Texas, Houston or something. A lot of people lost power. So you never know with weather what could happen. So I'm not gonna act like it's completely unlikely. But to say you flipped your car over 5 times? 5 times? What? Maybe I misheard that. But I swear she said he rolled his car 5 times. Like 5 times out of the year? But 5 times during the same trip to the hospital? And it was so hilarious when later on, Dorit is retelling the story to Maurizio and Kyle and PK, and they're talking about this, and they just burst out laughing even when she was talking. They even talked about how, she said that Tom broke his ankle before, but then later on said he got a concussion or whatever the hell he got, but didn't want to operate on him because he got hit in the head, and she was afraid there would be brain damage. I don't know. I'm not her doctor, right? I'm not gonna say that there could be certain circumstances where they're like, we could do this, but if we do this, there's a risk that this may happen. Are you willing to take that risk, or do you want to wait? Like, I get how certain things are not like, okay, you got to do it right away. And I can understand how a doctor may ask a loved one, what do you want to do, right? Because if anything happens, the doctors don't want to be liable, right? Because if they perform surgery on him and he bumped his head, right, and there's issues there, and then something happens, they don't want to be blamed for it. Sure, right? But just with Erika, there's just so many things that are just ridiculous, right? And I kind of get what Dorit's saying. Is it completely absurd and doesn't make sense, and who would believe this? Yeah, but why would she lie about that? Why would she tell a lie that's so absolutely unbelievable, right? Why would you even say anything at all, right? Why not say, if you're gonna lie, why don't you say he fell down the stairs, right? he tripped and he banged his head into the counter. I don't know. But why come up with such a spectacular story if there isn't some truth to it? Right? That's how I'm feeling. Like, what is the motivation? Right? What is the intent behind telling this story? Is Erika just telling this story because she's being honest about her life and what's going on? Or is she trying to build a narrative, right? And if this was an isolated incident from Erika, kind of, I don't know, adding 10 on 1 or what, adding 20 on 10, is this the first time? If this was the first time, I would be like, okay, it sounds a bit ridiculous, but sure, if this is your life, this is your life. But there is a habit of her doing stuff like this, right? So it's not like you're even being honest in the moment, right? Because they met. I understand you were at Garcelle's and she was having a dinner. It probably wasn't the right moment to start talking about Tom, especially to the group, right? When you know that certain people in the group are not really feeling Tom and that whole situation. And I understand that she probably doesn't want to be ganged up again in a group setting, that she probably felt more comfortable relaying this information to Kyle because she knew that Kyle wasn't going to challenge her as much as if she presented it in front of everybody. But I don't know. I don't know what the intention's there. You know, is she trying to make Tom look like he's feeble-minded, that he doesn't really know what he's doing, or I don't know what she's trying to do with Tom, but it just doesn't really make sense, and it is coming off like she's lying at this point. You know, I don't know if she's trying to make him look good, like even though he's old and he's kind of losing his mind, he was able to fight off a burglar and he flipped his car 1,000 times, so feel sorry for him, feel sorry for us in this difficult situation. I don't know. And Erika is going to watch this back, as she probably has been watching, and she's going to see Dorit, Kyle, Maurizio, and PK laughing their ass off at her until they're red in the face. She's going to see that, and she's going to realize, yeah, these people are not your friends. Especially Kyle. I think she knew. I mean, at least with Dorit, I could say Dorit has been increasingly straightforward. She wasn't at the beginning, right? It took Garcelle to call her out, which we'll get into in a minute, right? But Kyle has been very, very two-faced about it, right? And I think she has, out of everybody, she has been the meanest about it, right? I feel like she has had the most harsh criticism about it, but to her face, she doesn't say anything, but has the nerve to fix her mouth to Sutton and tell Sutton, oh, you need to speak up, and you need to do this, and you need to do that. But it's like, Kyle, the same goes for you, right? When they were at Dorit's mini fashion show, right? And PK was like, PK was sitting right beside Erika too, right? And PK was like, oh, are you gonna tell Erika about our jokes? And Kyle, I'm sorry, Kyle looked absolutely terrified. Kyle was legit scared, right? But then Kyle was like, okay, if you want to go and do that, you go and do that, right? Because she knows what Erika is gonna do, right? And Erika can take on PK, I'm pretty sure, right? But I think PK can take on Erika as well. But she was like, okay, go ahead and do that. We'll see how that works out for you. But you could tell Kyle wanted zero parts of that at all. At all. She wanted nothing to do with that. And even then, she's laughing. Like, your friend, your quote-unquote friend, is like sitting, 2 people across from you. You're right there. And you're cackling with another person about them. That's so two-faced and shady. And, you know, it seems like Erika's gonna be at the reunion. So I'm actually really interested in what Erika has to say about Kyle. That's what I want to see. I did like what Erika was wearing. I know, I can't help it. I'm sorry. I think Erika looked so cute. Well, maybe not cute is the word, but she looked so good at Dorit's little fashion show. That red cheetah print suit and the hair. The hair was weird, but it was interesting to look at, and I did like it, and I did like her makeup and everything. And clearly she has a glam team, so she's not struggling that hard, right? You know, if you guys watch Cheryl's World and you watch Gabor, he always says she's not poor enough for me, and I'm gonna have to steal that saying and say that no, she's not poor enough for me either. Like, if you have a glam team, okay, a glam team, people to do your hair, your makeup, and pick out your clothes, you're not poor, you're not struggling, and you're not gonna get me to feel sorry for you crying about, oh, I'm in my small home. Yeah, your home is like 10,000 square feet. And you're complaining about how small it is. Or it's not 10,000 square feet, but it's $10,000 a month rent. Like, come on. You're not going to come to me saying that you're poor and you're spending $10,000 a month on rent. That's absolutely absurd. It's absolutely absurd. But they're in their own little world, so it is what it is. Okay, moving on. Garcelle. It's kind of weird that her dating thing, I feel like we are at the end of the season almost. We may have 1 or 2 more episodes left. Why hasn't she been on a date yet? Right? Why are we just being introduced to the guy that she may be going on a date with? Are we even going to get that episode, or are we going to even get that scene of her going on the actual date? And if we're not going to get that, it's just like, it's kind of a waste of time. If I'm being honest, it's kind of a waste of time or a waste of potential storyline because we're not seeing that fall through, right? I would have loved, like, we were introduced to her meeting a dating coach probably like, the 2nd or 3rd episode. And now we're at the 17th episode. And now you found her. Now you found somebody. It's like, no, we should have seen her go on at least 2 dates by this point. 2 or 3 dates at this point. Because we've got scenes, to be honest, that we really, I mean, they were okay, whatever. But we could switch them out for a scene with Garcelle going on a date with somebody. That would have been interesting to see. Maybe they couldn't find anybody that wanted to film. But I don't know. It's just kind of choppy, that storyline to me. It is what it is. I saw the picture of the guy. He looked cute, but I don't know. I guess maybe they have to take these pictures if they're going to do matchmaking. But is it kind of weird for like a 50-year-old to take a picture with their top off showing their abs? Like, I don't know. The picture they showed looked kind of model-y, right? It didn't look like a casual picture. Like, okay, this is me and my friends at the beach, or this is me and my friends climbing a mountain, or here's me and my friends at a restaurant, or here's me doing X, Y, and Z. It looked like a staged, model-y kind of shoot. And I don't know. Maybe I'm a little... We know how reality television goes sometimes and how fake it can be. So when I see something like that, is he just kind of a model or an escort? You know, someone to just look nice, someone that's willing to film and give Garcelle a cute little scene, but not someone that she actually could be serious with. Are we getting that kind of thing? But whatever, we'll see when we'll see. Okay, moving on. So Garcelle, so at Dorit's event, okay, let me talk about Dorit's event. She did an event for her bridal dresses that she's designing, and her dresses are gorgeous, but that pearl dress, did she say it was $35,000? $35,000? Now, I mean, it's not completely ridiculous if the whole thing is made out of pearls, allegedly, right? But $35,000? Would you? I don't know. Even if I had the money, I would not spend $35,000 on a dress that I'm going to wear one time, and that's it. That maybe I would rent the dress or something, but I'm not buying a dress for $35,000. That's ridiculous. There's so many things you could buy that, like, you could get a dress custom made for yourself and it will be cheaper than $35,000. I don't know. That's just, but whatever. If someone wants to spend their money, like, you could feed a lot of people with that money. A lot of people go hungry. A lot of people don't have roofs over their heads. So to just spend $35,000 on a dress that you're going to wear one time is absolutely ridiculous to me. But okay, moving on. The designs are gorgeous, though. They are. And I wish her luck, and her event was cute, though. I like how she kind of set things up like a wedding reception. I love the reveal where the models were, outside and the windows were covered, and then when they pulled down the curtains, we saw the dresses, all the models, the lighting, everything was beautiful. It was, but $35,000 for a dress? Okay, whatever. Moving on. And I did like Lisa Rinna. I did like the hair change. I did like the color of the dress that she was wearing, the green dress with the green fur stole or whatever. That was cute. Did I like what Garcelle was wearing? I'm not sure if I really liked what Garcelle was wearing, but I love the color. Yellow looks great on her skin, right? Let's get into Garcelle and Dorit. So I guess Garcelle is doing interviews, promoting the show. And she spoke about how she kind of felt like the girls were coming for her, but she's ready, right? And of course, Messy Kyle, she brings it up to the group, like, you said this. And then Dorit gets super offended, right? Because she feels like Garcelle is being passive-aggressive and isn't being direct. Now, yeah, is Garcelle passive-aggressive? Sure, right? But when it comes specifically to Dorit, I feel like Garcelle has been pretty direct with you. I mean, even last week's episode at Garcelle's party, when you were going on, Garcelle directly told you to shut up. Now, she did it in a more polite way, and she did it with a bit of sense of humor, but she was direct. She wasn't like passive aggressive. It's like if you're like humming and sighing and like rolling your eyes, right, while Dorit's talking, and you're just letting her go on and you don't say anything at all, right? But then in your confessionals would be like, oh, Dorit, well, how come she doesn't shut up, right? That would be passive-aggressive to me. If you're not doing anything, you're experiencing something you don't like, right? Instead of dealing with it in a direct way, you're being passive. You're not dealing with it, and you're letting it build up internally, and you're agitated and have a bad attitude, but you don't say anything. She did say something. She did. So I don't know what Dorit is talking about. Like, how many times does someone have to tell you that you talk too much? Garcelle is not even the only one that said this. Kyle said this, right? Kathy said this, right? And if anything, I don't think Kathy has been rude, but if you're going to pinpoint someone as being rude and point and like taking jabs at you, if you're going to call out Garcelle, then you would call out Kathy as well, because Kathy has made tons of comments. But you never say anything to Kathy. You never say, Kathy, you're being passive-aggressive. Kathy, how come you can't just say how you feel? Like, no one's giving her that energy. Even Sun says that she talks to, like, everybody says. Erika says that Dorit talks too much. So it's like, if everybody is telling you, maybe you just need to take that in. And then, Garcelle's finally like, oh, can you shut the F up, Dorit, right? And then Dorit was like, see, that's all you had to do. That's all you had to say. That's, no, that's some BS, right? Because if Garcelle was just like, Dorit, shut the fuck up, do you think Dorit would be like, oh, that's all you had to say. Thank you. I totally understand. I totally get it now. Or would you be pissed off? She would be pissed off, right? She would say, no, you can't talk to me like that. So Dorit was being insincere. The truth is, with Dorit, she doesn't like when people say that she talks too much, because in her mind, she feels like she's not talking too much, you know? And when she said, I speak 5 languages, and in 5 of those languages, it doesn't make any sense. What? Dorit, ugh. It's like, okay, you talk too much. It's not a crime. It doesn't mean you're a bad person, right? I like Dorit. I do. But you just talk too much. It is what it is. And it's like, okay, you're either okay with that, right? That's just your personality quirk. And if you're not okay, be mindful of that and try to make improvements. But you can't tell somebody if that's how they feel. You can't say, oh, that's not what it is. If several people are experiencing you that way, then there must be some truth to that. That doesn't mean that you have to change who you are if you like who you are, but you can't deny other people of their experiences, right? And if Garcelle kind of feels like an outsider within the group, then that's how she feels. And if someone is communicating to you that they feel like, well, I don't really feel like I belong, I kind of feel like on the outskirts, I don't feel like I don't fit in, you don't start yelling at them, right? And you don't start further pushing them away. You bring them in. You're like, oh, you could say, yeah, we feel like we've been trying to include you, but you know what? Let's work harder. Let's see what we could do, both of us, to build a stronger relationship with each other. Like, take it in a positive direction, right? Don't get super defensive. Like, what are you talking about? What are you talking about? Because if you are really close to somebody and they said, hey, I don't feel close to you, you wouldn't just immediately say you're being ridiculous. You would be like, oh, you don't? Why not? You would try to understand their perspective so that, I don't know, you could get closer to them. So these ladies are fake. They're all fake. I'm adding Garcelle. Garcelle is not exempt for this. I think it's a Beverly Hills thing, but all these ladies are not really authentic. And then when you add reality television into the mix, I don't think it's really possible for these ladies to kind of build a genuine friendship with the whole group, right? Like, I'm glad that Garcelle and Sutton are building that genuine relationship, right? And that's all it takes, 1 or 2 people. It's kind of unrealistic for you to feel like you're gonna have that bond with everybody in the group, right? This is not a genuine friend group. You guys are being put together for the purpose of reality television, right? It's work. Just like at your jobs, you're not gonna get along with everybody, right? You're not gonna be best buddies. There may be 1, 2, 3 or more people that you connect with, but you're not gonna necessarily connect with everybody. And it is what it is. I just don't want Garcelle to like internalize that, which we kind of see a preview of next week's episode when she's like, I've always felt like an outsider and I 100% get where she's coming from. I just don't want her. I don't know. I guess I've been there, we've all been there, and I don't want her self-esteem to derive on whether or not other people accept her or not, right? She should just focus on loving herself and loving on those who love her and accept her and putting her energy there versus trying to get people that, I don't even think they don't like her, but I feel like they have their own motives, right? Like, I think low-key that the reason why Dorit is making this such a big deal is because she needs a storyline. Like, if I'm being honest, that's what I feel. Because Dorit keeps dragging this out, this beef with Garcelle, when there's no real beef there. But I feel the reason she's doing it is because she needs something to talk about, right? She needs somebody to be mad at. So, like, to give weight to what Dorit is doing or feeling is kind of like a waste of time, right? And I don't want that to affect Garcelle. Hopefully Garcelle is playing the game too as well, and she's not taking these things too seriously or to heart. It is what it is. One more thing, Lisa Rinna, right? I mean, to be honest, I would not expect, if I'm just Garcelle, I would not expect Lisa Rinna to come step in and fight for me and have my back. Like, obviously, we know what Lisa Rinna is. We know how she moves, right? I mean, Lisa Rinna is a complete hypocrite talking about Garcelle and her taking jabs. Like, Lisa, you are known for taking more than jabs, more like stabs at people. You stab people. You go below the belt. You have a history of doing that. You did that last season with Denise Richards. Like, you took things way too far with that. So it's a bit hypocritical for you to be like, oh, I'm not gonna stand up for my friend, when you see the other ladies ganging up on her over something kind of stupid. Yet you're sitting beside your BFF Erika, who's been accused of stealing money from orphans and things like that. So if you can find it in your heart to stand by Erika and support her, right, during this dark time, during a time when other people may be looking at her as not a good person, right? You can stand by Garcelle. You can stand by Garcelle. And standing by Garcelle or standing by your friend doesn't mean that you fight the battle for her, right? Or you get into an argument. It could simply be like, hey, you guys, Garcelle is new to the group. We've been knowing each other for how many years now? She's new, so it's understandable that she feels like an outsider. It's something that's gonna take time and like, you could have played. You didn't have to be the fighter. You could have played the peacemaker. You could have played the mediator. You could have just been there to put your arms around her and be like, well, that's not true, Garcelle. I'm your friend. I'm here for you. Sutton is your friend. She's here for you. Like, there's a way you could have done it to make her feel like she's a part of the group, the same way you do with Erika, right? You could have done that a little bit for her. So, I mean, at the end of the day, I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised that that's what Lisa did, because I don't really think Lisa is Garcelle's friend like that. I think they may be Hollywood friends. They may be like, okay, if I see you, we talk, we can get along because we run in similar circles. But is there a genuine friendship there? No. Is Lisa going to go against the group, go against the grain, risk being a potential outsider to stand up for Garcelle? No, because I don't really think she likes Garcelle. If I'm being honest, like, I just don't really think they're friends. So if they're not friends, then I don't expect, Lisa to do anything. But if you're going to call her your friend, and if you're going to go with that lie, then you kind of do need to play the part. Anywho, well, that's everything, guys.